He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
Okay, Angry Mortgage, we're back.
We're back.
We're on the air. Mm-hmm. And wow, we had a tumultuous week. But the most important thing we got to talk about right off the bat is Ron in suspenders. Like, what the fuck? Ron's in suspenders. Look at this. Look at,
we love the look.
Look at this. Okay. Ron in suspenders. Like, it's like, what's that movie? The Wolf of Wall Street, right?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes, Wolf of Wall Street. Also, if you're really, really fucking old, okay, like if you're over 60, you remember another movie called Wall Street, and that was a guy named Gordon Gekko, Michael Douglas, and Michael Douglas like old, he's a million years old now, and he's on some kind of flying fucking ant. But back in the day, he was dressed like this, okay?
Yeah.
So suspenders, right?
Yeah.
So anyway.
They match great with the tie, by the way.
Maybe. I mean, yeah, probably do actually.
They do. They have the like gray hands. Yeah.
I surprised myself. Look at that. Anyway, I got to go to an event tonight. My friends at the Looney Hour, so that's happening tonight. So I got to go there. So I got to have my suspenders on because
you just gave it away. What day we're filming?
Well, that's okay. But now everybody's got to check Looney Hour, so it might be extra help for Looney Hour subscribers. There, perfect, right? Yeah.
But before you subscribe there, you have to subscribe.
But
here.
You got to subscribe here.
Don't forget it.
Got to subscribe. But anyway, that's why I got suspenders on, because I'm going to this event, and you can't let your pants fall down, right?
Yeah.
And that's important. So that's like when I'm just sitting in the office here, I can keep pulling my pants up. But if I'm going to an event, I got to be more respectful. So yeah, Wolf of Wall Street, Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, yeah. That was a big Margot Robbie film too.
Yeah.
Love me some Margot Robbie. I mean, yeah,
she's so cute.
She is so
love her.
She's so good. She's such a good actress.
She is.
Like that is for so many 16-year-old boys and a few girls. The scene in Suicide Squad where she's Harley Quinn.
Oh, yeah.
And she's pulling on the Daisy Duke shorts. Like she's getting changed in the middle of a whole military base.
Yeah.
Like the greatest scene ever for those 14, 16-year-old boys. Okay, like the greatest scene. It's like seared in their memories.
Many wet dreams probably came from that.
Or active, more like actual purposeful events. Yes,
this is a mortgage show.
Yeah, it's a mortgage show. We gotta keep the porn on the low ball the porn here. We gotta do that. But
just subtle hints. But it's still a mortgage show.
It's a mortgage show. But Margot Robbie, Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn. Oh man, that's good stuff. Hey, I got somebody complimenting me on my Rick Sanchez thing the other day.
Oh, the baby reference.
Yeah, I do love me some Rick Sanchez, Rick and Morty. Anyway, so going to the event, and so I got suspenders on, and that's the reason. So because everybody likes to talk about that, right? Like if you do anything different, hey, you look different. We do get some comments. All right, now back to the mortgages. Let's do the mortgages now. Okay. So it's been a big week in mortgages. The banks, all the 6 big banks. Well, I sort of vacillate between 5 and 6 because 5 are really big. 6 one's big, but it's not that big. National Bank, it's a good bank. I like all those guys. We used to do a lot of business with those guys. But anyway, big bank, loan loss provisions. People are talking about it now. Nobody knew what the fuck a loan loss provision was. Okay, and now it's the talk of the town. So we'll talk about loan loss provisions. What the hell is it? All right. So, we on the show we talk a lot about a recession. Yeah, talk about it all the time. So so loan loss provisions. All right. So if you're a bank, you got to decide what is going to happen to your loans. You have to project that forward. Okay. Right. And since really when COVID hit, they raised them up because they thought, oh my God, COVID, we don't know. There was no CERB, right? Yeah. It hadn't happened yet. Nobody knew what was going to happen. So they raised their loan loss provisions through the roof. Okay. huge numbers. And then, of course, CERB came in, everything was kind of fine, and then they took them right down again. Okay. But this is not a pandemic we're experiencing right now. So what's the loan loss provision? They look at their book, banks look at their whole book of business, which is, they're basically in the lending business, right? They do a lot of other things. They do wealth management. They do huge deal-making stock trades. They do, companies buying each other. They do they do everything. Banks touch 85% of the 5-6 big banks touch 85% of all financial transactions in Canada. Yeah. Like everything. Okay. But a lot, when we think of a bank, we just think of probably our checking account, right? And
savings, TFSA, simple things.
But and we also think about loans, right? Think about loans and mortgages and stuff, and car loans. So every quarter, the bank looks and says, "What do we think? Are people going to keep paying their debts, paying our loans next quarter?" And they decide whether it's leave it the same, estimate it, leave it the same, increase it, reduce it. Okay. Well, they've raised it to fucking heaven now. I mean, it's gone straight up. Okay. Scotia rolled out with the biggest increase. That's like 1.5 billion set aside for bad loans.
Oh, wow.
It's huge. Yeah. RBC's come out, 89% increase. CIBC is like a 49% increase. So everybody is increasing their provisions, they call it provisioning, for bad loans. Yeah. Okay. So why? What's that all about? Right? Yeah. And by the way, is that bad for the banks? Because the crazy truth is, it ain't good, but it's nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about.
Yep.
They're forecasting that they're going to have billions of people not paying.
Yep.
What do you mean there's nothing to worry about?
Exactly. Why? Because so much in banking stuff is like backwards. Okay. So let's examine this. So they've set aside this money, and like I read a lot of background on the Scotia because they went first. So I read a lot of background on it, and they're talking about like $500 million of it is $500 million they're reserving for loans that haven't even missed a single payment yet. Oh. They're just overestimating. They're overestimating like crazy. Well, sometimes there's some sort of, planning behind that they're going to go. They're going to have a one really bad quarter, and then they're going to try to look like heroes for the rest of the year, but for the whole next year. But the thought process is that they can afford it.
Yeah, right.
Like they by the way, they never changed their dividend. Dividend's the same. And RBC, I think, increased their dividend. Like I can't remember TD did. Like anyway, nobody's dividend's going down.
Yeah, they're doing well.
They're doing fine.
Yeah.
And they, this is loan loss provision. They could take it back,
right,
which they did in COVID. They could say, well, we have huge loan loss provisions. A year goes by and they say, well, you know what? People kept paying more than we thought. We're going to reduce it now. So I'm just suggesting that nobody should worry about it is don't worry about these big banks, okay? Because they are rich. They are friggin' rich, all right? So when they say they figure people are going to not pay and they set aside all the money to cover it, some of the people might just pay.
Yeah.
So it's an overestimate in some cases.
Right. They're playing it safe.
Yeah. And but don't worry about the banks. The banks know what they're doing on this stuff. Okay?
Right.
What it is worrisome is, what does it say about the economy?
Yeah.
What's the real issue?
Yeah.
What does it
Because there's
say?
obviously planning behind that forecast.
100%.
So
like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's planning behind it. And there's kind of funny planning like, hey, should we just overestimate and take all of our shit kicking in this quarter and then we won't look so bad for the next year? And then some banks might say, oh, we don't want to look so bad. So we're not going to put much. We're not going to do as much, but then maybe we're going to have to do it again next quarter. I mean, yeah, there's planning. You're right. There's planning. There's sort of staging it. But to me, it's very, very indicative of the economy.
Right.
Don't worry about the banks. Hey, anybody listening to this? Don't run down to your bank and say, Ron Mortgage Guy said things are going to shit. Give me all my money back. Yeah. Don't fucking do that. That's stupid. Okay. Yeah. Do not worry about the banks. Even though it's a huge increase in provisioning for bad loans, don't worry about it. They're rich. They're fine.
Yeah.
The economy, not so much though. Like seriously, if you think all these people are not going to pay their loans, that speaks to the shittiness.
Speaks volumes. Yeah.
future shittiness of the economy, right?
Yeah.
Like that tells me a lot. So don't worry about the banks, but
worry about yourself.
Worry about yourself. Holy shit.
Prepare yourself.
Yeah, this is like signs and portents of not such a good fucking thing. Okay. So, yeah, and then right on top of that, we got this morning, I guess. It's this morning. Remember, we tape earlier, so I'm not going to get into that shit again. But anyway.
They want the timestamp.
No timestamps! God damn it! There's going to be no goddamn timestamps. All right? So, we got the Canadian GDP report this morning. We got the Canadian GDP report. Not good. Not good.
Yikes.
GDP down. GDP down.
Explain that for the younger viewers.
Okay, sure. So what you try to do is to figure out what is your country making? You know, like what is all your manufacturing, all your sort of sales, and it takes a lot into it. Like, I mean, like they think about how much you're spending on gasoline. They think about, and that's not inflation. That's like how much money is churning in the economy. Like, and that don't get me started on M1, M2, M3. Forget about all that shit. This is just is your economy growing? Like all the people spending money, everybody's spending money.
Yeah.
Or is your economy shrinking?
Yeah.
Okay. So if our economy shrank, but here's not much. Like these are small numbers, right? We're talking about like, I like to think that when you're talking about like 1.2 or 1.3%, it's not it's not the end of the world. But here's the deal. It's a clear sign of a recession.
Yeah.
And even though they they actually went back and said, I think we fucked up a few months ago and it was actually not as bad as we thought. Like, yeah.
We already know they can't count. It's okay.
we got, yeah, exactly. I mean, like, we think we missed 500,000 people. Okay, what the fuck? Okay. But they do their best. Like, I also believe they do try to do their best. But like it is. But can I tell you what the worst part about all this is? So that's what it is. That's the growth or the reduction of the economy. Like all of the activity in the economy. Like people are buying food. People are paying rent. People are, putting gas in cars. Like the whole economic activity that goes on. It's not necessarily about companies making profits, though that's a little bit of it, tiny bit of it, but it's like everything. Every time people do an economic activity, is it increasing or is it decreasing? Now let me tell you the bad news. This is the real bad news. That was a national number. That's the whole country. Tiny, it didn't go good. It was less. It was less than the quarter before, which is never good. You don't want your economy shrinking.
Of course, yeah.
But here's the really shitty part. That's a national number. And for the last 2 years, we've brought in 2 million plus people.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you bring somebody in, that automatically boosts the economy.
It should.
Right? Because they got to rent, they got to eat, they got to buy food, they got to be transported somewhere.
Yeah.
Like they automatically, you bring in, because our new citizens, our new Canadians are adults. They're not like little kids who are not doing much.
They're contributing.
They're in. As soon as they show up, shit starts happening. I got to eat. I got to rent. So that grows an economy. Like people coming into your economy grows it. And we have had some growth. We've had the most growth, most immigration in all of our peer, the only, like literally no country has had the same amount of legal immigration we've had out of like 100 countries. Like we have it. So that grows your economy. That grows your GDP. But that means if the GDP is going down, what's happening on a per capita basis?
Right.
Okay. The country has grown because we've introduced 2 million new citizens.
Yeah.
So on a per capita basis, it's really shitty. Like if you break it down to the individual, how's your personal economy growing?
Yeah.
Worse. It's even worse.
No.
Okay. Yeah. We've got a severe productivity problem in Canada. Like the other thing to rub our noses in it. The Americans had a huge increase. Now, their government is doing huge stimulus, so that's got something to do with it. Like they're building roads, they're funding new factories.
Yeah.
They have a plan down there that instead of doing stuff like the carbon tax, they say, no, we're not going to do a carbon tax. We're going to give tax credits to businesses to start new green energy businesses. Okay, we're going to pay them to do that.
Right.
And we're going to reshore manufacturing, because we don't want things to be made in China anymore. We want to bring them back to to America. So that's a lot of stimulus, and their economy is like
growing,
5%. That's like fucking huge. Compared to ours, got smaller, right?
Yeah.
But it does mean we're less productive. We have been consistently less productive than other countries. And particularly in the United States, we're so much less productive
in comparison, for sure.
Yeah, by the way, everybody thinks that's about people working. No, they're not working harder in the States. Yeah. That's not it. They just have more business development. More people are starting new firms. More people are starting new ideas.
More innovation.
More research, more development. That's productivity. It's not people working more hours, okay? But yeah, our individual per capita, like Canadians individually, their individual economy is getting worse.
And that's so shitty, because it's like, that's why people in my generation are not sticking around. And then people who come here, they're like, this sucks. I'm going to go home where I can actually save more money.
And,
you come here for a better life.
Live easier, right?
Yeah. How do you come here for a better life and turn out it's worse? Like, that's sad.
That is so goddamn true. You're so right. Okay. Like, yeah, that's the one thing that, like, I mean, I read that story about the Ukrainian refugee who says, I'm going to go back even if it's war. I mean, this place is too hard.
That's like so ridiculous, It's
totally fucking ridiculous. But that's what you're up against when, this housing crisis we're in, where the cost of having a home or paying rent is so goddamn high.
Yeah.
That people just say it's too hard. Like, I could live in another country and, like, rent, the share of my income that has to go to rent, will be half. Okay, so what the hell am I doing here? This is nuts. I can't save anything because the rent's too high. The price of the house is still so batshit crazy high, even if it's come down.
Traffic is disgusting.
I'm gonna lay into that fucking traffic shit by the end of the show. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So people just say it's too hard. Like, things are just too hard. Okay. So another interesting development. I was talking to a group of other people who are in the business, lawyers and commercial real estate folks. Had a little very interesting meeting, and the talk about something that they're kind of calling the condo cliff. It's sort of a condo cliff. So the thing about condos is that it takes so long to build them, right?
Yeah.
Like, at least when you buy a new construction house. Like, you can go and you look at your plans and you pick your house, and you pick your spot, and you drive to this sort of empty spot where there's nothing there on the street, just a bunch of dirt, and you say, I'm going to live there, and you can see it in the but those are generally finished in 14 to 18 months. Like, from the time you sign the dotted line, boom, you're moving in 18 months later. And condo can be fucking 6 years. Like, you buy a condo unit, and you don't even get title to it, because it might, if you're on a low floor, like, it's got 40 floors, right? If you're on the third floor, they tell you to come on in, and you have to pay us rent because we're still finishing the top floors. Yeah. All right. So it's long. It's really long. Now, traditionally, people have done okay on that, right? If you bought a condo, so if let's just imagine your moving in date is now. It's now in late 2023. You might have bought that in 2018. Like, you might have only paid $380,000 for that. So you're doing okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe you paid $440,000. And today it's maybe worth $500,000. Okay. So you're doing okay. But what's going to happen next year when you might have paid in 2019, you might have paid like $460,000. Okay. Or because the prices jumped. And now it's only going to be worth $500,000. I mean, is it? Because a lot of people, when they bought condos, they never planned to close. Okay, people made a lot of money over this last 10 years in Toronto on this.
Yeah,
you buy a condo, new construction, you wait till year 4, the prices have all gone up significantly, and you say, "Hey, I got this condo here for $339. It looks like it's worth $500. Somebody want to give me $440 for it? Oh yeah, I'll give you $440. That's a good plan. Okay." And you just put like $90,000 in your pocket. Well, there's some selling expenses. There's some expenses.
Right. Either way, you come out winning.
Big time. Yeah, big time. All right. So what if that's coming to an end? What if sometime by the end of 2024, you got a place you bought for $480,000 and it's only worth $480,000, but you bought 4 of them? Because you never planned on closing, right?
Yeah,
you never planned on
right.
actually owning those places. And here's what you did. You used the same pre-approval on one to buy all 4. Like, you cannot get a mortgage. You could never get 4 mortgages.
Yeah.
Never. I know. A lot of people say, yeah, you're full of shit, Ron. You're telling one of your fucking bullshit stories about real estate. I can introduce you to some people who will verify this is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we headed for a problem? And I talked to lawyers, I talked to guys in commercial real estate, and they say, yeah, I think we're headed for a problem. And people won't be able to close.
Oh,
so
that's unfortunate.
it's really bad.
Yeah.
But because if they can't close, the people who sincerely wanted to move in can't close either. Because you've got to form the condo corporation, you got to get to like 80%,
Right.
75, 80%, maybe more. And then actually the builder's got to be in a position to hold these other suites that you might want to sell at the time. I mean, it's a sort of a very fine calculation to have enough, because in theory, you really need 100%.
Yeah.
But usually the builder holds some, right? Because
Yeah.
they like to sell it later, make some extra, traditionally made a profit.
For sure. Yeah.
But maybe no profit now. Maybe it's a fuck up. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was told absolutely that there was one builder to get their project closed. They had to give, and this was a low rise. This is like houses, townhouses. Okay. To close their project, they had to go out and give the people mortgages.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Because a lot of people just said, I can't get a mortgage on this. They said, okay, we'll give you a mortgage. We'll give you a mortgage at $399 for 3 years. Okay. They put out $130 million.
Oh.
Okay. Now these guys are rich. Like the developer's rich.
Right.
They're rich. Okay. They can afford it.
But like, it's still, it's not easy to just become a private lender from one day to another, you know?
Oh, no, this was a private lender. This was the actual developer gave the mortgages. They just gave it. Okay.
Yeah.
There's so much
So
money.
then technically become a private lender.
Sorry?
They technically become a private, right?
No, you're right.
Yeah.
They are a private lender,
Yeah.
but they're lending out of a corporation.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And only on that project, nothing else. So it's just to make that project work out. It's just to make sure that the condo corp can form and they get all their cash out of the project. That cash might have been like $800 million.
Right.
So they got like 130 as mortgages. They're not happy, but the people are paying, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the mortgage eventually could be, eventually they say, okay, that was 3 years. 3 years are up. Go talk to the bank. I mean, we're done now. You got to get it. And they will get their money back.
Right.
Okay. So if you're really, really rich, you just want to get the project closed, right?
Right.
So, but that's a sign, right? It's a sign.
But that's not always going to be the case too, right?
Oh, and no. If it's a builder who is not rich, they can't do it.
Yeah.
Just can't. Oh no, there is a condo cliff that we're likely going to see next year.
Right.
And we're going to see some part of it. So that's on the horizon. The same lawyer I was talking to said, my power of sale foreclosure stuff is up. It just keeps going up. It's just like I've got stuff that's going up, and I got people who can't close. It's going up. It's fucking.
It's so fucked
horrible.
up.
It's
Yeah.
what happens. Like, let's go back to that idea of the house. Like, you bought a house 18 months ago. And in the last 6 months, prices have come down. Okay. So what if it doesn't appraise? Right? Like, what if it doesn't appraise out? And you got a bank, you might deal with a couple of different banks, might send a couple of different appraisals. You want to try to do everything to find an appraisal that works.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. Like, every single appraiser says, no, this is worth $100,000 less than you bought it. You bought it for $1.5 million. You bought this beautiful home, $1.5 million. You could only sell it today for 1.38. Okay. Everybody, like, multiple of them agree. That's all it is. It's come down. Market's come down.
Yeah.
You got to find yourself $100,000. Okay. Maybe 120. Maybe not easy.
No, of course.
And the lawyer was saying, no, we got the power of sales coming in, and we also got the I can't close coming in. What am I going to do? Okay. So what is that sort of generally reflecting? It's generally reflecting a weakness in the real estate market because, as you know very well, we don't have a lot of people calling us about buying houses in the GTA, do we? Because and the stats prove it. Like, the stats are falling off a cliff. Yeah. Lowest sales in 25 years kind of thing. Like, that's
insane.
Yeah, well, there's it just is what it is. These rates, let's face it, that's what I've always said through like 10 podcasts. the whole concept that the Bank of Canada has of raising rates is to break the economy.
Yeah.
That's why they're here. We're going to break the economy. That's our plan.
Yeah.
If we break the economy, inflation goes way, way down and stays down.
Yeah. It has to get worse to get better. It just sucks.
It so sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks. I mean, it's like, because you scratch your head if you're one of the people who are going through this shit.
Yeah.
And you say, wait a minute. You say, it's the super high rates that's causing all these problems. And then everybody gets mad at me online. They're not super high. Fuck you, Ron. They're not super high. When I was back in 1982, I had 18% mortgage. Yeah, okay. Geezer. Fuck yourself. Okay. Honestly, like, please, Jesus, like it's.
For today's prices,
for today's prices, it's unmanageable, dudes.
Yeah.
Okay. Always remember, when you bought in 1982, you paid $129,000 and it was only 3 times your income.
Yeah.
When the people today are paying $1.6 million, it's 10 times their income. Okay,
Yeah.
so get it straight. All right, these interest rates are not manageable for today's house prices.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
But it is just a bitch, right? Like,
it is. There's a lot of unfortunate people who jumped into the market and obviously didn't expect this to happen.
no, nobody
Right?
thought this would happen. No,
So-
nobody who did. No, like, and again, thank you, people on social media who want to send the comments. Yeah, anybody knew that? I knew that. I'm really fucking smart. I knew there was going to be all those people were stupid. Okay, please, Jesus, stop it. Just fucking stop it. Okay, like, it's really easy to sit back as an anonymous social media account, like you're
And talk shit.
Yeah, you talk all the shit you want.
Say it with your chest.
Yeah, you're like, who's this person who's saying I'm stupid? Oh, it's Marvin the Ant. .. 1368. Okay, like,
Yeah.
and
Their
it's
profile picture's a banana.
yeah,
like
it's
Mike
a banana.
the banana.
It's a banana with legs and eyes and like what the fuck, right off, you people. Okay, like you're allowed to be there. You're allowed to make rational comments, but when you're a banana with legs and arms and you're Marvin the Ant or some other fucking stupid thing, and you
Can't take you that serious.
yeah, we're not gonna take you serious at all. Okay, like fuck y'all. But you can still make nice comments or just ask questions. We're happy to do that. But
Yeah.
if you want to say no, I'm the smart one. Everybody else is stupid. Yeah, no, we're not going with that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Not when you're a banana. So fuck. We have to live with this shit all the time. The stuff that some of the comments we see on social media are like unbelievable.
They're bizarre.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
Like holy mackerel. But in an anonymous world, you can do whatever the fuck you want, I guess.
Yeah. The dangers of the internet.
It's funny. One of our staff people, I was chatting with her today. She's got kids who are like 12 and 10. And she's a very good mom. Like, she worries about that stuff a lot.
Yeah.
And she says she tries to keep everything under tight control.
Yeah.
But then she says, honestly, Ron, whatever I can figure out to control the social media, whatever I could try to do to restrict what they can see on their iPads or whatever,
Yeah.
within 2 weeks, they figured a way around it. Like, they just do. They're 12 years old. They can talk to their friends and figure out a way, okay?
This generation is completely different. Like, I know I'm one to say that because mine is completely different to yours.
Yeah, of course.
But like this one, I feel like being raised with technology the way they are, it's like, I can't imagine how they're going to be when they're adults. In a good way and in a bad way. Like, there's obviously pros and cons, but there's only so much you can do realistically, right? With technology at your fingertips, like, kids nowadays are so much smarter.
And social media is so weird.
Social media is a scary place.
Can you imagine social media for a 12-year-old girl?
Like, that's so crazy. No.
It's wild, right?
I can't even think about it. Yeah. It's wild.
And then, here's mom and dads who want to do the absolute right thing.
Yeah.
We can't keep up.
No.
We cannot figure that. It's just too much. It's too fast. I mean, we can try to restrict everything and then boom.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, they come back from school and their friends have told them how to get around it. And pretty soon they're looking at stuff from Mars. Okay. Like, it's just fucking wild shit out there. Okay.
It
obviously.
is. Yeah.
So I do, I don't have to think about it anymore. Like, I'm still talking about movies that you've never heard of, right?
Yeah.
So that's a really famous movie. Yeah, just for you, Ron. Only for you and the geezers. Only for you and the geezers. That's a famous movie. Okay. So what we gotta look, we're trying to look for a pattern, right? We're looking for patterns, and that's why I talk about the recession, even though a lot of people say, whenever I talk about the recession, it's always the same comment. Oh, I was at Costco and the parking lot was full, or like, look at that on Black Friday. This was all those sales on Black Friday. Well, I got news for you, folks. If the sales on Black Friday are down, we're fucked. Okay, like, and the sales actually were down because the big stat came out that Spotify, who is the one who does all the online buying, right? They run on online software to buy stuff.
Right.
Amazon's the big one, but Spotify's big too because Spotify is actually behind a lot of other companies. Like probably if you buy something from Best Buy, Spotify might have run that software, right?
Yeah.
So they announced that sales were up 7.5% over last year. Inflation was about 6% from last year, right? And less people are buying in stores every fucking day. Okay, if it's not up, we're in trouble. Okay, because so everybody comes out with, no, I think you're wrong. Ron, I think the economy's very good.
Maybe yours is, but
but everybody else
looking at a bigger scale here.
We're looking at the whole goddamn country. Okay,
yeah,
and you know what? I think employment's up. I think unemployment's up. And here's the funny part. We do get a jobs report. Again, I don't want to beat up these poor guys at Stats Canada, okay? I think they try to do the best kind of job they can.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's trying to do good, but...
There's only so much they can do.
And the report is old, right?
Right.
But I know, so my favorite, one of my favorite lines is, and again, this comes from these guys on the Looney Hour podcast. They call the jobs report a random number generator. Okay, like just spin the magic 8 ball and see what comes out. Okay, like we'll see what comes out. And then you have to keep adjusting it for being wrong for like 3 months afterwards. Okay. But frankly, I think we're going to find out that, there's a little bit more unemployment every week, maybe every week. Because I think the narrative, the theme of what we're talking about is that I think the recession may be here. And then everybody says, well, you're fucking stupid, you fat fuck, because the more you talk about it, the more people think about it. Well, I got news for everybody. My opinion actually means shit, okay? Like, I got a few followers, but I don't invent the sentiment of the community, okay?
Of course.
Like, it's not me. It's like people observing, hey, you know what? And listening to this stuff about the banks and their, because that filters through. Not everybody pays attention, but some people do. And then you hear about it. You sort of hear about it in media. You might not truly understand it, but you say, okay, the banks think there's going to be more bad loans, and this GDP thing is not good. It's going backwards, so that's not good. So listen, folks. At the end of the day, if people form their own opinions based on information coming in, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if the chorus of information isn't that goddamn good, then people are going to think trouble.
Of course.
And let's face it, this is kind of old news, but TD brought it up again today when they published their year-end numbers. They also pointed out that they had to set aside money to pay the 3% of their entire employee force they were laying off. Okay, that wasn't new, by the way. That was information that was in the marketplace previously. But when you have to see it in black and white like that, that many people are being laid off, 3,000 people basically. That's a lot.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's positive. But you're such a negative fuck, Ron. But
it's reality.
We just try to portray what we read, what we see, what's going on, and we try to discount full parking lots at Walmart. That is not scientific, fuckers. Okay,
people still gotta eat. Leave them alone.
It's true. It's
like people are still gonna shop. It's just probably not as much as it used to be.
And we're gonna have some. We'll have our customer questions back next week, but we are actually had such a busy week at Butler Mortgage. Lots of other things going on. We have our Butler Mortgage holiday party. Actually, I'm gonna call it fucking Christmas party. It's fucking Christmas, okay? Although we have that party, so it's very strange how much you learned. I mean, how much organization has to go behind that thing?
It's a lot. It's bizarre, Like I used to do events too, so like I have the gist of it, but it was taking up so much of my time, and I was like, I am falling behind. Like I have shit to do.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's a lot.
I try to do less, right?
Because
because the theory is I should maybe do less, but you still have to get involved.
Of course,
it's really weird. Like Jessica, the producer, said, you know what? When I had my wedding, it wasn't this complicated because everybody who said they were going to come, they came. Yeah. And now she says, I've been juggling cancellations and stuff and all new people coming, and which we like. We understand people got to cancel.
Life happens.
Life happens. Shit happens. But you know, it
just sucks for us.
it's a bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then we got Mrs. Mortgage Guy is always in the background saying, "Are you sure this is the correct invoice for this?" Yeah, guys, God bless Mrs. Mortgage Guy. She does keep us on track on the money. She does.
Yeah.
God knows we need it because I can be frivolous. Okay, that's for sure. So we will have our questions back next week because there are always questions, right? Every single week there's questions.
Yeah.
So I got to talk about this one. It's like, okay, so this is our favorite part of the program.
What the actual fuck?
So I'm so mad about this one this week. What the actual fuck is going on with you, Toronto? Like, what the fuck? It's the holiday time of year. I've had to go down to the city core several times just in the last week. Okay, multiple times. People are nice. They ask you out. They ask you to come to things. A lot of stuff's downtown. You cannot drive in this fucking Toronto, okay?
No.
Like, it is fucked. It is so
Crazy.
fucked up. It's nuts. I mean, like, hey, Mayor Olivia Chow, hey, City Hall, hey, councillors who are douchebags, okay? Like, you've let this turn into like a fucking, like, it's ridiculous.
It's chaos.
Okay?
It's just straight chaos.
Straight fucking chaos. Like, you live in the city. Okay, I live a little outside it, so I got to try to get into the city, right?
Yeah.
But would you even drive downtown now?
No. And you know what's weird? Like when I was little, we would drive downtown just to go for a drive at night, see Christmas lights. Now it's like any time. It could not even be rush hour. You're driving downtown, you're just sitting in traffic. And it's like...
And you're wondering which street is closed.
Yeah. And then you're turning and you're like, oh, that one's closed now. It's crazy.
Like, Toronto is downtown Toronto. And by the way, I see this on Twitter. I see this on social media. I see this everywhere. I see it on TikTok. I see like everybody's talking about everybody who lives in Toronto.
Yeah.
By the way, let's face facts. In Canada, there's Toronto, and people think, oh, these guys in Toronto, they all think they're the center of the universe. And yeah. I'll tell you what, Toronto people, pretty proud. We're pretty proud. Yes, you're right. We're pretty proud of Toronto. Okay, we think we're pretty fucking smart, but everybody else looks at Toronto and thinks, fuck you all. Okay, like if you're in Halifax or Vancouver, or Calgary or Winnipeg, or even
they're looking at us like, imbeciles.
Like, fuck yourselves. You think you're so fucking smart.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
at least we admit it.
We are getting fucking destroyed here.
We are.
Okay.
We are.
Like, this is the worst government, city government you could ever imagine. Just a complete fucking clown show. They build LRTs, crosstown LRT. You know, we've spent about $8 billion, $10 billion. Nobody knows if it'll ever work. Okay.
Yeah.
And not open yet. Infinite delays.
Closed
the last time they came in open, we're going to give you an update on when it's going to be finished. And they trotted everybody out.
Yeah.
Guys, the boss of the TTC comes out. All right, I'm going to give you the information on when the crosstown LRT light rail transit is going to be finished. And the answer is, we don't know. Like, fuck you all.
It's so bizarre.
It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. So I refuse to drive downtown. So I take an Uber downtown. Okay. So I'm coming from the office, going downtown. And the Uber driver is being very diligent. And you can see he's having to circle here and cross over there and come around here and avoid this traffic here and avoid this closure there. And finally, he's getting close. We're getting close to the destination. Okay. And he makes a turn and he says, oh my God, they just closed this road. Like on Waze, it's still open. On my Waze app, it's still open. My Google Maps is still open. They just closed it this afternoon, for fuck's sakes. Okay. Holy shit.
Yeah. And then I get it. They want to promote like taking public transit. Sure. Make it accessible.
But public transit's fucked. They closed Queen Street, for fuck's sakes. Yeah. You can't use it. I mean, what the fuck?
And the Toronto subway now, like, it's the equivalent to New York subways. There's just so much craziness going on.
It's a little dangerous, right?
It's dangerous. And I see like videos of people like finding bed bugs on the chairs and like just like seeing crazy people everywhere. And it's like, I get it. We're going to have that naturally. It's a big city, but it's just like, it doesn't entice me to want to take subway to go downtown. I'd rather pay an Uber. I'd rather sit in traffic.
Like, I actually read a tweet the other day. Like, we were supposed to call it a post now because it's not Twitter, it's X. But I read a post on X where a person described watching a single woman on the subway that because she just got on and then she eventually got off after about 8 stops. But she said for the entire time, a young guy walked up to her and kept asking for her number, like total stranger.
Ugh.
Okay. You want to give me my number? My number? Hey, come on, honey, give me your number. Give me your number. Pulls his phone out. Said, you just put in my iPhone here. Just put my number. Like, can you imagine going 8 fucking stops? That's like 12 minutes or something.
That's so uncomfortable.
So fucking
and it's
wrong.
Like, it's wrong, and it's also like, as a woman, you don't know what you can or cannot say without somebody reacting. You don't know
how it's going to escalate.
Like, you could literally just say no, and then they'll just like throw hands or something. Like, you have no idea who this person is and how they're going to react, and it's pretty scary.
Okay, so like everything about getting around in Toronto downtown is fucked. Okay. By the way, I when I went to one destination, I said to the guy, well, okay, well, just let me out here. Okay. So then I started walking along the sidewalk to get to my place that I was going.
Yeah.
And the sidewalk was closed. I'm not fucking with you.
Sakes.
I am not fucking with you. And there was like a workman there. I said, is the sidewalk closed? He said, yeah, but you just have to go down and around the block and then you get in the other side of the building. So what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like this, you can't drive to it. You can't walk to it. You got to walk around. What the fuck's going on here? And by the way,
start flying.
anybody who thinks you could bike there, you're not fucking biking there. That place is torn to bits. Bike can get through.
And it's dangerous too because it's
so dangerous.
No,
so dangerous. So hey, Mayor Olivia Chow in Toronto. Mayor Olivia Chow, City Council, gang of douchebags. I mean, you are the worst. The worst. No one can get around in Toronto now. You should all hang your heads in shame, even though I know you have no shame. All of you don't have any shame. Okay. But you should be ashamed of yourself. Toronto, holiday season, 2023, utterly fucked.
Inaccessible. Completely inaccessible.
Completely inaccessible. Torture. Be ashamed. All you sons of bitches, be ashamed. See you next week.
See ya.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.